11 seasons and counting. Kentuckiana Motorsports brings you the biggest story.
Oh, there's contact.
Get out of you now.
Stewart into the middle of the pack and over.
Just, a mistake on my part.
Controversy on the track.
Oh, no, there they go.
Tony's not very happy.
Whoa.
Yeah. Well, we know what Tony thinks.
And moments that make this sport great.
And Earnhardt loses it, goes on the grass, and Earnhardt still got the lead. Incredible.
Kentuckiana Motorsports delivers action from the local tracks and introduces you to the rising stars of racing.
Will Kittle running third in that 68.
Kentuckiana Motorsports is presented by Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil products are made in America and sold to the world. And in part by PNC Bank for the achiever in you. The Kentucky Speedway, bringing you the stars of NASCAR. Knox Ford in Radcliffe and Owen Funeral Home. Now, Kentuckiana Motorsports.
Good having you with us, Kentuckiana Motorsports. Craig Hoffman, Scott Douglas, Kentuckiana Motorsports, presented by...
That'd be Lucas Oil. Right there.
Made in America.
Sold to the world, right there.
Hey, 11 seasons. I get to sit next to the voice of Monster Jam, the international voice of Monster Jam.
It's fun.
And Kentuckiana Motorsports. You know, we got the biggest names here. Colonel Sanders. We have Scott Douglas. We can go on and on.
Can we get to the racing?
Okay, let's talk about, upcoming chase races. And Scott, it goes all the way down the Homestead.
We got 6 left, 6 to go. And again, a couple of interesting, with everything else we've seen so far, locales sitting there. Those would be Talladega and Martinsville.
It's Talladega and Martinsville. And next week on Kentuckiana Motorsports, we got to tell you, we're going to have some fantastic finishes from Talladega. Some of you probably haven't seen it sometime, and it's going to be big. But let's talk about Charlotte. It's this weekend. In order to go forward, you got to go backwards at Charlotte. And Scott, Kidson had a rough time last year.
Well, he did, but again, he's in another piece, and the Gibbs guys tend to look pretty good when they head out to Concord, North Carolina.
Okay, on the restart there, everything looked great, including number 31, Jeff Burton, but he continued to struggle and really went backwards with this race, ending his hope chances right here. And then you may remember last year, Tony Stewart had some issues.
Yeah, he did. As you can see, the crew trying to piece that thing back together with duct tape.
And here, just Paul Menard gets into the wall. And then it wasn't Dale Jr. in the 88 last year. It was Regan Smith in for Dale Jr. His car blows up. Little Lee's car lost his chances there.
Yep.
And then Hamlin and Johnson came into the pits late in Charlotte. Here they all come into the pits. Clint Boyer said, nah, Scott, good to the last drop. I'm going to squeeze it. Squeeze that gas tank.
Yeah, that's got to be a lonely feeling when you come in the pits and you see only one guy coming with you. You say, uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But Clint did it last year, and what's going to happen this year? And, you know, we talk about Talladega and Martinsville coming up. We're both excited. Big track, short track. How important is Charlotte to set the really final 3 or 4 in the chase?
Every race has equal importance. They have equal amount of points on the line, and you can see each week guys continue to struggle, and it seems like the guys who are doing well are staying up front. They're going to have to separate at some point, so maybe Charlotte. Obviously, the 48's great at Charlotte, so we'll see.
Okay, let me ask you this. He's leaving NASCAR to go back to IndyCar, Juan Pablo. Now, you're going to see in a minute, he got into Kyle at Kansas. So was that payback or just tight racing?
I don't know, but I imagine he'll see Kyle again before it's all over.
Let's break it down with Kansas, because what a race on the weekend. Danica Patrick in that pink color to support breast cancer awareness hit the wall pretty early. And then a lot of people had Ryan Newman in fantasy NASCAR. Elch, he got hit hard. Justin Allgaier, Scott. And what's going on here?
Looks like somebody on a barbecue. That's all I can figure out. Somebody's trying to cook some hamburgers back there.
Well, the fire got going, and then here's the Kyle Busch love tap by Juan Pablo. Juan Pablo and that Target car went right by. Kyle was not happy about that. Vickers, right after the hard hit there by the 18 of the M&M's car, the 55 of Brian Vickers, he hit the wall, that tire on the repaved surface.
Yeah, it's a mess, but obviously, Vickers is what it is. The deal was with Kyle, and then obviously Harvick gaining some critical points because he hadn't gotten off to all that great of a start in the chase. That's a big one right there.
Yeah, he goes right up in there in the win, and some struggles by some of the other drivers. Hey, that's a cool-looking shot right there. It really, really hurts. One thing that doesn't hurt, pre-owned, new cars, great service department. Knox Ford and Radcliffe bringing us A race to the chase to the championship. Great supporters of racing. Here it all is right here. I still think Kyle has a chance. I think.
Well, he's got a chance, but man, he can't afford any more missteps. Anybody, once you get past the top two, even Harvick with that win, he's got to build on that. Because again, 25, he's got to make up 25 positions, not just 25
now,
points.
Gordon likes Martinsville and Talladega. He hasn't done well in Charlotte in recent years. I think.
Remember, here's the guy who wasn't in the chase until all the rules came down. He's sitting there fourth. Yep.
Okay, and then we take a look at the next ones. Outside of Biffle,
wow.
Kurt's sitting there. He just doesn't have the team, but good for him for what he's doing. Junior, I wish.
Again, the shock to me is Carl Edwards. I thought he'd fire better than this. He's had nothing. Newman's had nothing. Casey Kane's really had nothing.
Yeah, but I don't like the fact, and we're going to talk about this, you have a wreck early, you're pretty much done. Something's got to be. It
works.
I know, it's got to be done. Knox Ford and Radcliffe bringing you the championship chase right here on Kentuckiana Motorsports. Now, after that race, you talked about the fire. Kevin Happy Harvick, of course, he's happy. Was laughing. He says, there was some cautions there, and it was duct tape and a fire, and it turned out sort of helping him. And Jeff Gordon's like, I made a stupid pit mistake, but it turned around and helped me get a top finish. And here's what those drivers are saying as they get ready for Charlotte.
I knew we had a good race car. That gave me confidence, and then it was just all about trying to get the strategy right. And I actually made another mistake because I thought they said if nobody comes in, come in. So I came in when nobody else came in, and he actually said, if everybody comes in, come in. So I got lucky. We got lucky. That one actually worked in our favor.
We're leading the race, and I think we were leading.
Yeah, we were leading, and we were trying to stretch it about 20 more laps, and we did not need a caution.
And then there's smoke for what was on fire? Mulch?
Mulch.
Duct tape and mulch were our best friends today.
No doubt Kevin Harvick likes the winning, kind of improves your attitude.
Happy Harvick. You know what else improves your attitude is the fuel additives. And
that'd be Lucas Oil, of course.
Lucas Oil products?
Yeah, they're made in America and sold to the world.
Bringing us to Keys this week. What's it going to take to win the big race this fall race?
Charlotte, is the ultimate cookie cutter, kind of the original cookie cutter, so we've been seeing some of this play out. But once again, this is one that often will come down to fuel strategy. You got to almost change your notes a little bit from what you did at the 600 because you're 100 miles less. So, the guys who ran well in the spring may not be as big a factor here. And like we always like to say, the chase drivers have been going to the top every week. That's no difference this week.
And here at Kentuckiana Motorsports, we have Lucas Oil, we have Terry Satellite City, PNC Bank. We could reel them off one after the other. But from day one, Scott, a gentleman you've known through the old Louisville Motor Speedway days and other days in Louisville. He's big with Kosair Charities. He sings with the Monarchs. It's Dave Owen.
That's quite a setup there, Dave.
That's a lot, isn't it?
I'm about to say it. That's a pretty good resume you're bringing in. Good to have you. Dave Owen here.
My limo pulled up out front.
That's right.
And they use Lucas Oil in his limo, too.
That's
right.
Always good having you with us over the last 11 years as a sponsor. But let's talk about the chase races. There's 10 of those. It's winding down. What's your thought on the chase, Dave, as we see things get ready for Charlotte and then there's Talladega and Martinsville?
Charlotte's a fun track. It's going to be a great weekend for them, and hopefully the weather will be okay. And I was looking this morning, Jeff's in there, and
he is.
Jimmie Johnson's 3 points away. That's pretty close. 3 points is nothing, from the old Louisville Speedways with the Gardners and the Kimmels.
Well, yeah.
We know all about the point day. So
yeah, I think it's a little simpler to keep up with these days because it's basically 1 point per position. So Johnson's just got to find 3 past Kenson to take the lead. I think it's easier for folks to just keep up with back in the days when we were given 100 points for a win. You had to get your calculator out to figure out where you were at during the race. Yeah.
Dave, let's talk about someone locally. You talked about local racing. You've been a supporter of cars and tracks. We could talk about that. But Frank Kimmel gets his 10th championship at Kansas. And not only that, he wins his 80th race to go all-time, the biggest winner. Frank is our local driver, but it's big for this community.
Oh, it's great. Frank's been around forever. We've raced against him and Bill. Had some great times. Got our temperature, blood pressure up a couple times.
You think?
But, when my friend and then their friend Dave Embry, when Dave passed away, we were all together at the funeral, and we all shook hands and just, and talked about the fun days.
Yeah, and as I remember, for the Gardner guys, the problem was always Bill. It wasn't Frank.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Just kidding, Bill. Just kidding, Bill.
I didn't say it. He did. But Frank, we had Frank featured last week going to Kansas, and he was with us a few weeks ago.
His name's on top of the record books now.
Keith and I are talking. So I'm sure if they ever got in a car again together, it might change.
Yeah.
But
I can give you a little secret. There's a little secret here in the racing world that David Owen has an actual hood from Kimmel.
There you go. How about that?
And it's only signed by one.
So everybody loves one another. You're going to sit here because when we come back here on Kentuckiana Motorsports, we're going to talk local racing. We're going to let Dave break it all down with us on Kentuckiana Motorsports. So we're going to have that also. Still ahead, the Halloween 200. I know Salem, you see a lot of Owen cars there. We're going to talk about, coming up on Kentuckiana Motorsports, the Halloween 200. Also still ahead, 1 week from Talladega. It's going to be big.
Yeah, well, I'm always looking forward to that one because that is something else.
But right now, PNC Bank Trivia. You know, Owen's been with us. Owen Racing, Owen Funeral from day one. So is PNC Bank. See if you know this one, Scott.
Kentuckiana Motorsports is presented by Lucas Oil. Its main manufacturing facility is right here in Kentuckiana. Lucas Oil Products, made in America and sold to the world.
PNC Bank Trivia. Now, we know Bill Clinton linked to Al Gore at the Louisville Motor Speedway. This is a little easier one, Scott. What do you think?
Why do you figure it's easier?
Well, which U.S. president?
Nobody's going to guess this. Just go ahead and give them the answer.
Okay, it's George Washington ate lunch at a home which later served as a Speedway office when Charlotte Motor Speedway first opened.
Are you sure of that?
I'm sure of that. I'm sure of that.
All right,
US
folks.
president.
You heard it from here. You heard it here first.
Anyway, good to have you with us here at Kentuckiana Motorsports. He is the voice of Monster Jam, Scott Douglas. I'm Craig Hoffman. Friday night racing this week because Mother Nature did not cooperate at the Sportsdrome. It is the big one at the Speedway, Scott. Friday, the Owen Funeral Home Extreme 100. Also the Winged 8 100, Outlaw Figure 8 100, racing at 5:30. Opens at 5:30, racing at 7. Tickets, $7 to $10. SportsDromeOnline.com. And when you talk about the Owen Funeral Home Extreme 100, Dave Owen returns here. And you brought someone with you, Dave, here on Kentuckiana Motorsports.
We've got a great guest. It's Vicki Weber.
I thought you were the great guest. Vicki Weber with Kosair Charities.
Right.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Okay, before we talk local tracks and get you and Dave involved with that, NASCAR, Chase, who's your favorite driver?
Dale Jr. by far.
There you go.
Why do you like Dale Jr.? Tell me a little bit about
because my grandson, Logan, is a diehard Dale fan.
There you go. That's all it takes.
And anything and everything I know about it came from Logan.
There you go. There's the key.
Well, I'll bet you one thing her grandson likes is a little Halloween scaring fun because the Halloween 200 at Salem Speedway is just around the corner. Dave, Tony Conway is your driver in this one.
That's right.
If he wins the 5,000, does he give it all to you?
I don't think so.
Scott, doesn't it work that way? It doesn't work that way.
It never worked in Louisville that way.
No. But I'm sure Dave would love to see him in Victory Lane enjoying the celebration. Great race. One of my favorite races of the year, Halloween 200.
Now, we want to remind you, on Saturday, you got the practice. It's free. You can go up there. This is Sunday, though.
Yep.
Practice free Saturday, Sunday, the Halloween 200, 5,000 to win. Tony, give some to Dave Owen if you win. The Lucas Oil American Stocks, they'll be racing. Gates open at 9:30, racing at 1:15. Now, the Redneck Enduro 100, you thought the season was over. No, that takes place on November 3rd. SalemSpeedway.com for more. You know, you talked, Dave, about Salem Speedway. I've seen your name on cars up over there for the years. You mentioned Keith Gardner earlier.
Yeah.
What do you like about Salem?
Oh, it's just like Bristol. I mean, it's Bristol without the seats.
Yeah,
I mean,
it really
it's a
is.
great fun track with the banking and the speeds, and Kevin and Keith had that track nailed down. They knew what was
They
going on.
really did, yeah. Kevin knew how to set a car in that track.
They've got Mingus, you know, he ran up in Kentucky, and he had a pretty good day. Had some issues, but he finished 10th, I think. I was there.
And they got the short track and the high banks footage you just saw there, and it's just a fun time, a good family time, and everything like that. Now, Halloween 200 facts. We have Halloween 200 facts for Vicki.
Oh, we do.
Since she's here. 101 cars started the 1994 race.
That's got to be a record.
That is a record. I think Chuck Barnes Sr. has the most wins.
Yeah, I think they got to call it
Scott,
Chuck
what about
Barnes.
this? Kentucky
200.
drivers won 7 of the last 8 races.
There's been it gets a regional draw, but make no mistake about it. Some of these guys who do so well at Salem are Louisville area drivers, and that Owensboro contingent, that Western Kentucky contingent.
And Frank's racing, I'm told, in the oval race, we talked about Friday night at the Drome. Who knows? He may be up there in the Halloween 200. He's won it before.
Well, Frank Kimmel may be the biggest name to win, but at that track, in that race, Chuck Barnes Sr. is the biggest name. Because believe me, there wasn't any beating him a few years at that race. You know, and that's a tough race to win with that many cars, Dave. I mean, you just got to navigate it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many cars and wrecks and getting out of the way, and it's pretty tough.
You know, Vicky's here with us because Dave is involved with Kosair Charities for so many years. Dave reaches out with Owen Racing, Owen Funeral Home to this community. He's with the Monarchs, you name it, Shriners. He does it all. And you know, Kosair Charities, 90th birthday this year. And tell us a little bit about, just in essence, what is Kosair Charities all about?
It is exciting that we've been around this community for 90 years, helping kids, all kids throughout Kentucky and southern Indiana, and they turn to us when there's no place else to turn and we don't charge them a penny. What we've done in this community is overwhelming. And now, how we do things, what we do hasn't changed, but how we do them now in 90 years has changed. And we've partnered with over 90 agencies to help these kids.
Well, you know what? Our community can help out. They can reach out and have fun, too, because this weekend, Saturday, is the big Kosair Charities Fall Fest, thanks to Sam
Somehow
Swope.
I knew it, Sam Swoopy.
Oh, yeah, we had him on the Louisville Daily a few weeks ago. He's been on this show with Dave before, talking about all the good things in the community that he does. It's at the Sam Swope Charity Center, Dave, on Eastern Parkway. And then let's talk about 11 to 10 p.m. this weekend. Let's talk about some of the things going on, Dave. You like the bouncies, I'm told. You
The bouncies are cool, yeah, bouncies are cool, and they're going to have all kinds of fun games for kids. I believe you park at St. X, and they'll shuttle you over to Kosair Charities, and it's going to be a fun
time. And Vicki, the Kosair Kid Reunion Tent. Oh, can you, old and young coming together? That's got to be special.
All the young and young at heart will be there for 90 years. We have some Kosair kids. You probably are familiar with Dr. Hurt. That commercial that we've done with his giggle, Dr. Hurt is actually going to come around 2 o'clock, so that's going to be very cool. And what's really exciting in the Kosair reunion tent, we're going to have all of our agencies are going to tell some stories, some great stories about some of their children who have been helped so much by Kosair Charities. And we have Benny Shelton and Alice Wimberg, who were the Kosair King and Queen from 1955, and they are coming. So we will have them there on their thrones, and what's even more fun is the Kosair kids will also be making their own crowns to be part of this royal court, and then we're going to have a drawing, and we're going to draw for this year's Kosair King and Queen.
And Dave, Kosair Charities they do so much in this community, and the community gives back too. And I know you dig in there with your hand. You got to be proud of what everything goes on and how people help in this community.
Kosair is a great organization to help kids in Kentucky and southern Indiana, and it's going to be a big day. It's a big, big day.
Well, Dave said it's going to be a big day. Let's get the information up on the screen again because this is big. It is Saturday. You're going to have a lot of fun. Starts in the morning at 11, goes to 10 o'clock. It is the big Sam Swope Charity Center on Eastern Parkway in Louisville. Again, Dave likes the bouncies. You got the kids' tent, the reunion, and there's just so much going on. There's music. There's going to be food.
Monarchs are coming.
2 o'clock.
I'm there.
You're singing at 2 o'clock.
I'm singing with the Monarchs now.
Cars, we're going to have the 1955 Chevy Bel Air
giveaway.
So
now here on Motorsports,
that's going to
we
be
talk
fun.
Motorsports. We know the Monarchs. Maybe Vicki will get up on stage, but Vicki.
I will. I promise.
Well,
there you go.
It's worth it right there. I want to get some information up on the screen because Vicki talked about it and Dave talked about it. You know, Kosair Charities helps more than 150,000 special needs children every year. They serve, as Dave said, Kentucky and southern Indiana. And Scott, look at just some of the places.
Well,
they help.
that's just a a smattering to put a couple of familiar names up there. That list goes on for pages.
And then they have helped 3.5 million kids since 1923. It grows and it grows. They provide financial support for medical expenses.
That's exactly right.
And Louisville has always been about giving and helping. It's such a special place.
And the fact that we've been doing this for 90 years, and this entire year we have put on 50 events to promote what we've done in this community. And we thought, let's culminate it in one big festival and do 51. That's what the festival is. It's a huge celebration, and we want everyone to come out and celebrate with us.
Before we let you go, we're going to toss the break in just a second. Charlotte's this weekend, the big track.
Oh, here we go.
Who's going to win at Charlotte NASCAR? Is it going to be your favorite driver?
It's going to be Dale.
Dale Jr. Okay.
You can take that to the bank.
Take it back. Okay. Dave, Charlotte this weekend.
Oh, I got to go with Jimmie Johnson.
Jimmie Johnson at Charlotte. Now, he hasn't done well there the last couple years.
But it's home.
Last couple races. Okay.
48's got a track.
Still ahead here on Kentuckiana Motorsports. Vicki has sounded off. Dave has sounded off. Hey, Scott and I will have our picks here on Kentuckiana Motorsports, who we think's going to win. And then Monster Jam is coming to Kentucky. We got some details, but right now, PNC Bank Trivia, a little easier than the last one. We're going to go back in time. We'll be right back.
These great sponsors make Kentuckiana Motorsports possible. Owen Funeral Home, serving families since 1949. PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. BTS, Business Technology Systems. The Kentucky Speedway. Knox Ford in Radcliffe. And Terry Satellite City.
PNC Bank Trivia. Dave Blaney got almost $64,000 last fall at Charlotte for a last place finish. How much did the winner get in the same race 35 years ago? Charging. Charlie Glotzbach took home the winner's check in 1968, $19,280, a paltry amount for winning. And Dave got more than him. So, okay, Scott.
Charlie may tell you that was a better deal. And we were paying about 28 cents a gallon for gas back then, too.
Well, good having you with us here on Kentuckiana Motorsports. He is Scott Douglas. You think of Vicky and Dave and what they talked about. Kosair does so much for this community, and Dave has been a great supporter of this show.
No doubt
too.
about it. We certainly appreciate that.
Well, let's tell you about some not so good news here. He's mending Dario Franchitti. Wow. You probably saw this wreck here. It's been played and played again. His estranged wife, maybe they're getting back together. There it is right there. Ashley Judd is by his side. He's on the mend, some broken vertebrae, some terrible ankle break. Alex Taglini is going to be doing the last race for him. Scott, your thoughts on an accident like this with catch fences and everything else?
There's a lot that comes into it. I think the main thing is that Dario's going to be all right. It's the bottom line there. Because, it's a hairy one, no doubt about that.
Yeah, and we've had Dario on the show. He's been a friend of us, just like the late Dan Weldon's been on the show before. And a lot of people saw that wreck and said, please. And Dario is on the mend, and our thoughts and prayers go out to him. Hoosier Auto Service on 10th Street in Jeffersonville. Go in there. They'll give you 10% off your service order. Mention Kentuckiana Motorsports and say, I want my 10% discount. Big car show, thanks to Hoosier Auto Service. Got to tell you about this. Highway 62 in Lanesville at the Heritage Park. It is Saturday from 10 to 3 p.m. Get out and have some fun. $5 admission, under 12 free. Hoosier Auto Service brings you the big car and classic car and bike show taking place. I think it's called Road Rage or something like that. There's the information for the number. Now, Terry Satellite City gives you the picks. Who's going to win?
There you go.
Hey!
It's the ultimate jinx on Jimmie Johnson.
It's the jinx. We both agree. He's looking at us like, Scott, Craig, are you both picking me?
We've jinxed him. Poor Frank Kimmel, you see, you jinx him all the time. Well, this time we got Johnson because we both pick him. He ain't got a prayer.
So are you going to take him in fantasy this weekend?
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see what happens. But the hopper, the dish, go to Terry Satellite City for that. Now, the latest news we have, Monster Jam right here in Kentucky. Not a Louisville show yet officially.
Well, they're still working on dates. And again, that continues. You go to monsterjam.com. You can always just keep up on the upcoming dates. But I know the Rupp Arena dates.
Rupp Arena, here it is.
Indianapolis also has tickets on sale now, too. So
big one, though. It's March 1st and 2nd. Pit party on the March 1st.
That's an awesome spot for Monster Jam in that historic building. So, I hope a lot of fans will come from this area and head on down and see it.
Well, it's going to be a big time. Again, you go to monsterjam.com, the Advanced Auto Parts Monster Jam. Do we want to do
Well, no, it is right now.
Okay, we got to get all the lines in there for you. Okay, so anyway, that's going to be a good time. We'll be back to wrap things up here in Kentuckiana Motorsports. Don't go away. Want to thank Dave Owen and Vicki Weber for being with us, our special guest on Kentuckiana Motorsports. We're all out of time. Scott Douglas, Craig Hoffman. Enjoy the racing, everyone.